Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beer Review. Today, I am going to be reviewing a Champ APA from Holy Whale Brewing. You can see their logo on the back of the can there. It is like a whale, and it is also like Mary Praying. And the logo of this beer is kind of video game themed, pixelated. This is the first craft beer I'm reviewing on Beer Review. And because of the theme of this can, what I'm gonna be talking about later is I'll be talking about some game related stuff. Games that I've played, games that I enjoy, what I enjoy about games, how I enjoy games, all sorts of stuff like that. We'll get into the details, and I've got some stuff with me to show y'all. Um, but what I want to show y'all first is the rest of this can. So, as you can see here, it says Champ APA American Pale Ale. It is 5%. On the back, there's a drawing of the brewery in Alma, New Brunswick, which is just on the way to the Bay of Fundy, which is a beautiful area. My dad picked these cans up for me from there because he was going to Fundy not too long ago. So I got him to pick up a couple cans of this Champ APA. Um, a quote about the place: "It is a place to sit," which I think that is a nice quote. Um, Contains wheat, barley, and it is packaged at I will not say the address here, but it is packaged in Charlottetown, PEI, which is quite interesting. So, this is a beer from a brewery in New Brunswick, quite a ways away, not crazy far, but a decent ways away, that is packaged at a place very close to here. It is one of the closer breweries to here. I used to work in that brewery over there doing packaging cans just like this one. In fact, I have actually packaged Champ APA before. Um, it is so essentially it is from New Brunswick. They send the recipe to Charlottetown to the PEI Brewing Company, and then they will make these cans. They don't do it very often, I don't believe, but yeah, Champ APA. Um, is the same PEI Brewing Company that does the Gahan beers, the Beach Chair beers, um, the Colliding Tides, and a couple other things, as well as some random contract brewing like the Champ APA. It's where I got my glasses from as well when I worked there. When I review something from there, something that they make, I might tell some stories about working there, maybe if I can think of any that are worth uh worth telling. So I say, without further ado, also let's check the bottom. This was canned on May 27th, 2024. Show y'all that. Try not to shake up the can too much. Um, and one thing I appreciate about all the cans from the brewing company, one thing I will say about it, I like how they have the dates clearly legible on the bottom. A lot of places kind of hide that in some sort of gibberish numbers that I don't understand. So I can understand when this was canned, and I like that. I want to know if I'm opening up like a super old beer. I don't want to do that. I want to open it to pour it out and throw out the can. But something like this, good May, still pretty fresh. So how about it is August now, so it's not, it's not like fresh, but it will still be quite good, I say. Let's crack open this can here, and might foam up a little bit because I did kind of shake it a bit. And oh yeah, not too bad at all, not too bad at all. So it is open, and I'm gonna pour some of this Champ APA into my glass. So we kind of take a look at the color of the Champ APA. APA stands for American Pale Ale. Um, it's a different take on the IPA, essentially. Um, that was kind of invented in America. Um, Take a quick look at this color. Kind of hold it up to the light here as much as I can. I'm in a shadier corner. I'm in the driveway today. There might be the sound of more cars driving by this episode. Very sorry about that. We're experimenting. A big bus just drove by. Listen, there's no rules on beer review. Anything can happen. But the color of this beer is very yellow, and it is hazy, and it is very bright. Super bright looking. Very nice looking, I will say. Got a nice, pretty thin white head, slight lacing on the nose, which I can smell from over there. Like when it's here, I can smell it. It's a very strong smell beer, but very floral, very fruity, sweet smell. Very like what is it? It's like bean. orange, citrusy, sweet. Hmm, a very distinct smell. It smells like almost a slight. It's like a slight. It's like orange and applesauce and peach. It smells great. I will say that. Absolutely wonderful smelling beer. Well, let's take a sip, shall we? Very nice, very nice. And yeah, that is a very fruity tasting APA. It almost reminds me of Five Alive, if you know the Five Alive juice. It's it's almost that juicy. It's very juicy, which I love. I love a juicy IPA. I think a lot of people, or I'm sorry, not IPA, APA. I think a lot of people who hate on IPAs, and I understand why. They're gross. Um, I say that as someone who does enjoy them. I think a lot of people sleep on the juicy IPAs. I think those are a much more approachable drink if you just kind of think of them as, what they are. Man, this is really, really nice. Kind of a bitter finish to it. Kind of moderate carbonation. Overall, really nice drink. Nice solid body to it. I've had Champ APA before. Um, I've had a couple different like brews of it, and this might be my favorite that it's ever tasted. I mean, it's hard to say when you're not having them side by side, but obviously you can't really because it's whatever how many years or months ago whatever it made, right? But from what I'm tasting of this is excellent. Um, highly recommend if you find it anywhere kind of around Atlanta, Canada. Recommend trying it out. Pick a can up if it's on tap somewhere. You know, give it a try because I gotta say it's a good one. So the can with the video game stuff on. I want to talk about games today because I have had a long history of playing games and of not playing games and of beating games as well. Um, so I kind of want to talk a bit about that today. Um, so some of y'all may have seen, I don't know if I've ever actually, I don't know if I'm always wearing long sleeves in these reviews. I can't remember, but I have a tattoo of the prince from Katamari Damacy. And that is the only tattoo I have. I only have one tattoo. I plan on getting more, but it's the only tattoo I have. And why is that my only tattoo? Why is it the first tattoo I decided to get? I got it because it's meaningless. I got it because it has no meaning to me at all. And I want to get over that bump. You know what I mean? I don't want to get something meaningful first time because then, like, everything else has to follow that up, right? Anything to follow it up. I just played the game and I thought it was fun and I thought the little guy was a cute little character. So I was like, put him on me forever. Um, and I don't regret it. Um, I don't think I'll ever regret it. Maybe I will, but certainly right now, no regrets. And I got this when I was 19, so 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know how long ago, but no regrets on my. Um, I must say, I still quite like that one tattoo. However, there are games that mean a lot more to me than Katamari Damacy. Despite the fact that I have no tattoos of them, and I will not get tattoos of them. I don't think. Probably never. Seems dorky. This one's at least like kind of fire looking, you know what I mean? Seems kind of dorky to do for the other games I'm going to talk about, but hey, whatever. So growing up, I remember, playing a lot of SSX 3 on the Xbox. That was a banger of a game. I do want to revisit that game. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I played a lot of Minecraft as well. Potentially in the winter, there'll be some sort of Minecraft server popping up that I may or may not be a part of. I may or may not, maybe live stream if peer review fans are into that. Let me know. I could do that. Maybe if I feel like it. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm gonna play. I have no idea what my plans are this winter at all, to be but flew by. No idea what my plans are this winter. We will see what happens. And really, I think what did a lot for me was getting a Wii when I was in elementary school and playing Wii Sports. That game, very good, very influential for me. I was very obsessed with Wii Sports. I was fucking nice at boxing though. Boom, boom, boom. I was getting them. Golf, woo, clean. I cleaned up in golf. I was low key obsessed with golf as a kid because of that game. And now I think golf is like the lamest shit you can do. It's fun. I'm not gonna lie, it is a good time, but I think it's just kind of lame as well. Um, like if someone invites me to golf, I'll do it. But I think people who are really into it, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, give my golf opinions later. What are you here for? Yeah. Um, yeah, and then eventually we got the Wii U, which was pretty exciting at the time. Looking back, not the best console, but I had my fun with it. And it came with Smash 4 and Splatoon. I got that bundle, and I got really into Smash. I got really into Smash 4. Um, I kind of drifted towards the competitive scene, not playing it, but watching it. My internet was too bad to do online matches for Glory. Never really did for Glory. But I would watch competitive Smash 4 as like Pika Bayonetta and all that and all that. And I don't know, I was young and I thought Kirby had potential. I thought Kirby was underrated. I didn't understand how the game worked, so I was really riding for Kirby. I played a lot of Kirby in that game, and yeah, it didn't really make any sense for me to do that. I wasn't even playing a tournament, so what the fuck would I know? I couldn't beat a level 9 CPU with my Kirby. Sorry, you know how it is. Eventually, stop playing that game. I kind of follow Ultimate as it's coming out, but I wasn't into it right away. Eventually, though, a bunch of friends of mine start playing it. They're going to tournaments. Friends of mine are like running tournaments, and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I want to get into this. I thought Donkey Kong looked cool in the game as well. I thought the way his eyes popped out said was funny. So I was like, all right, that's worth buying a Switch on its own and getting Smash Ultimate. And I played Smash Ultimate for quite a while, sort of around would be 2020 late 2020 maybe to probably about 2022 or so maybe. I played Smash Ultimate for quite some time. And during that time I bounced around between maining a bunch of different characters, starting out with Donkey Kong, played a lot of Bowser, a lot of Pikachu, a lot of Steve. Um, I would say Bowser is my best character. I think my Pikachu's fine, but my Pikachu was kind of nice at one point, I'm not gonna lie. Um, That's kind of at a certain point I just stopped playing it competitively. I stopped going to tournaments for it because I just stopped enjoying it, and also because I kind of found Melee, which kind of brings me into the first thing I'm going to show you is my GameCube controller and my copy. It's my copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee, and I will open it up later because there's something else in there too, um, which I do not play on this disc at all. I only play it like on a USB stick or off my laptop, which is very easy to do. Highly recommend everyone go do that. Of course, I legally ripped it off the disc. Oh, great. I did that. Shut up. Um, but yeah, Super Smash Bros. Melee, awesome. Now, why do I like Melee? Melee is an older game for the GameCube, and despite being older, it has, I would say, a more active competitive scene than Ultimate. At least it does, where in Charlottetown specifically. The Melee weeklies and Ultimate weeklies kind of fuse into one. There's maybe like four Ultimate players who still go to tournaments, and Melee, it's generally around the 8 or 10 range. Can go up and down depending on the time of year. Usually, fall and spring are kind of bigger times for it, I find. But yeah, Melee. What is better about it than Ultimate? And I can go on and on because I think there's a lot of things that are better about this game than Ultimate. But if I had to break down the big reason why, I will say one of the biggest reasons that Ultimate is a very fun casual game because there's like 100 characters in that game. There's 80 plus, right? There's so many characters in Ultimate. Which, if you are hanging out with a bunch of friends, whether it's whether you're young, like if your kids just playing, great time. Great time because everyone can like, oh, try all the characters. It's a fun time. And if you are older and you are drunk or high, it is great for that. Great for just like stupid fun. However, when you care a lot about getting good at a game, part of it is learning matchups. And the problem with Ultimate is that there's so many matchups to learn, and so many of them are dumb gimmick matchups that are just no fun. Melee, comparatively, has 27 characters, I believe, 26, 27. Depends, I think, with how you count Sheik and Zelda. And out of those characters, only really about maybe 10 of them are any good. So, a lot of people think, well, Ultimate, like pretty much any character can win. Melee, it's like only 10 good characters, and even then, really, you're only talking about like seven, because a lot of those are on the fringes or like harder to, they're just less popular, right? And the thing with that is that the balance is just better in Melee. It's not more fair. Ultimate has a more fair character balance, but the balance in Melee is a lot more interesting. It is, there's so much more to learn in every single matchup, and you can go much deeper on every single matchup because when you are making your game plans against the established characters in the game, the characters that are good, the characters that you will see a bunch of, you can really flesh out your gameplay, and that's something I really enjoy. Um, in Ultimate, you can obviously do this. A lot of characters are very complex in Ultimate. I'm not gonna deny that. Um, but I think Melee's balance is just more interesting. It is better, despite the fact that there is a very clear top echelon of characters who do better than others. If the game was just those characters, I think it would still be a better game than Ultimate. And that's not to say that the low tier characters in Melee are not fun or interesting, because they are. A lot of the low tiers in Melee are really fun to play casually. They are really fun to like try to play competitively. A lot of them are kind of gimmickier matchups, but a lot of them have some really interesting and unique stuff that they can do. So I think overall, the character selection, Wasp right next to me there. Overall, the character selection in Melee is much better, I will say, than the character selection in Ultimate, despite there being like like a third of the amount of characters, less than a third. I think it's better. My next reason why I think Melee is better than Ultimate is the speed of the game. The game is faster. It is one of the fastest games, really, that I've ever played with how fast you make your inputs. Now, again, this is something that I understand a lot of Ultimate players be like, well, why would you want that? It's going to just be harder to do things. And for the context of just picking up the game, absolutely. Ultimate is way easier to pick up and play. If you are just like button mashing in Ultimate like with some friends, that's going to be probably a better time than doing that with Melee. However, I think casual Melee, when you don't know what you're doing, is still really fun. And the game isn't fast, you don't know what you're doing. The game's actually quite slow when you don't know what you're doing. It feels super clunky at first, which is kind of an interesting thing because everyone talks about how smooth the movement is in Melee and how how great it all is. The game feels super clunky when you first pick it up, especially if you're playing against people who know really what they're doing. Um, and that's because the inputs are more precise, and you don't have as much buffer or like any buffer on certain things. So it's just a lot harder to get the fundamentals down. But I don't think that makes it not fun at the start, especially if you're playing with other people who also don't know what they're doing. I've seen so many people who, are just brand new to Melee, playing with other people who are brand new to Melee and having a great time. Um, because part of the joy of the game is really figuring out how to move your character around. The game has way more movement options than Ultimate as well. So in Ultimate, you can kind of dash dance, but you're just a set speed going back and forth. Melee allows much more. You can dash back and forth really quickly. You can wave dash. You can do a bunch of techniques in Melee that help you move around the stage. You can slide around. You can run around. It's much deeper. The movement in Melee is much deeper. You can do so much more with your position. And that's something that I really appreciate about Melee. I think that is one of the most interesting aspects of Melee. It's one of the most fun things about the game. It is just very unique, very interesting. And as you play more and more, as you get better and better, it just gets deeper and deeper. So Melee, Melee is definitely better in that regard, I will say. So what else do I think is better about Melee than about Ultimate? Um, I would say playstyle is a big part of it. It's a big part of it. Playstyle. You can do so much with your playstyle in Melee. Melee gives you more options because you have more movement. There's more stuff you can do, and because the game's faster, there's more stuff you can do. So it is just so much more. You can play the game how you want to play it. With Ultimate, a lot of time when you're playing a character, you are playing that character's game plan. In Melee, you have a lot more options to change up your game plan, change up how you want to approach with the character. It's way more custom. It's way more custom. You can tell the top Melee players apart from watching them play without any sort of names or player cams on them. Different players just go for different things. They gravitate for different things. They play differently, which is also true in Ultimate, for sure. But it is much less. It's much less noticeable. Really. Like you have to really like lock in, be like, okay, yeah, no, that seems like something that person would do. In Melee, it's pretty clear. Um, Another thing I prefer about Melee to Ultimate is the community, and specifically Melee as an esport or whatever you want to call it. I guess it's an esport. Yeah, it's an esport. Um, or like compared to other fighting games, other esports in general, it is like this. Like when I say esport, I don't mean that as in it's not an esport. It just isn't the same as the other ones because it doesn't get any big money. Esports is like failing anyway. Like no one in esports is getting big money in it right now, I don't really think. Um, but Melee is not connected to Nintendo. I mean, it is obviously because they made the game and they still have the rights to do things with it. But the Melee tournaments are not run by Nintendo. They're grassroots, which is something I much prefer. I think it makes for a better community. The Melee community is a really key part of the game that I think is really important and really great. Um, the people who run the tournaments, you know what I mean? The people who modify controllers and who make new controllers, which I will get into this controller in just a second. I think the Melee community is full of really great people, and I think that especially locally on PEI, very nice people here. And if you are interested in playing Melee, get yourself a GameCube controller and go to a weekly tournament. Just go. No one will care if you're shit. No one will care if it's your first time playing. They will play with you. They will give you advice if you want advice, and they will, yeah, they'll help you out. Um, so anyway, I'll get into my controller here. How about that? So, GameCube controller, one of the best controllers. Now, this one's a bit of a Frankenstein because, as you can see, the cord is black, which is not typical for a white controller. The white controller usually has a white cord. Dropping it, and the tip is silver. And that's because I am using the motherboard from a silver GameCube controller in a white shell. Now, why am I doing this? Well, the silver motherboard that I have is my favorite motherboard. I got it from a controller, from a silver GameCube controller I bought off Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji, I forget which, for a good price. I tried it out. It was perfect. So I picked it up. Now, my favorite motherboard, I know that sounds like the dorkiest shit ever, and it is. It just has to do with the stick boxes. They just have a good feel to them. Sometimes stick boxes can be too tight or too loose on GameCube controllers. Sometimes they can have snapback, which is where you input one direction and then it goes back in the other. Um, this one just has worked out really well for me, and I've been using it for a while. The buttons on it are all from the white GameCube controller that the shell came from. And I put the silver in this white shell because it has a Yippee sticker on it, and I like that sticker a lot. Rosa made that sticker. So shout out to Rosa for making that sticker. As well as some custom black buttons that I have for my directional pad and my start button. Those are from an old button kit that I got from forever ago. I made an all black controller, which I didn't really keep around because those buttons aren't super high quality. But these buttons I don't press while I'm playing, so it doesn't really matter their quality too much. Just the fact that they're pressed. So that is my GameCube controller. Now, how do you modify a GameCube controller like this? Well, you'd think you would just open up a regular screwdriver, where you're wrong. you need a tri-weight screwdriver. It's going to be impossible to see on this low-res camera, but I can kind of show you up here, kind of somewhat the shape that it is. So GameCube controllers and most Nintendo consoles that I've opened up use tri-wing screws, which means you can't get at them with a normal screwdriver. You need a tri-wing screwdriver. I bought this off Amazon forever ago. It was like $10 maybe. They probably sell them at some technology stores maybe like, but tri-wing screwdriver. That's all you need. Then get in there, clean it up with isopropyl alcohol. It's 100%. You don't want to get water on it, obviously. And a toothbrush or a cloth, something, not too strong, obviously. Um, and that will do a good job at cleaning up your controllers, which is often something you have to do when you're getting used controllers, used GameCube controllers. If a kid uses them, they can get gunky or a gross adult, but clean your controllers. Clean your controllers. If you've had the same GameCube controller and you're already a Melee player, just clean it. Just open it up and clean it, please, for the love of God, because there's probably some gunk in there when you hold it in your hands and you get sweaty when you're nervous. So that's uh that's everything about Melee. Now let me tell you what I don't like about Melee, because I have a follow-up to all that praise of Melee. I don't like going to tournaments. I don't like competing. For a long time, was going to all these tournaments and I was playing. I was trying to get better and better and better. But what I kind of realized is that the environment of a tournament and the bracket itself, why am I doing quotation marks? I should just turn the camera off. Just listen. Um, I don't know. So, problem is that I just do not enjoy competing in Melee. I really like the technical aspects of the game. I like getting better. I like the matchups. I like all the technique behind it. I just don't really like competing, which is interesting because I've always kind of liked competition and winning, but I just don't enjoy it with Melee. I would much rather play Melee just like, just drinking or smoking with a couple friends, trying my best to win all the games, but at the end of the day, not worried about winning them. Um, I like tournaments. I like the people who run them. I really do. But it's just hard for me to really enjoy myself when I'm competing in a tournament, I find. Which is why I kind of don't. I used to. But it was very hard for me to actually enjoy it, and it took me out of the experience pretty heavily. So I'm going to pour up a little bit more Champ APA because my glass is getting pretty empty. That should be all of it here. Boom. Can damn Champ APA. Well, like, I want to be the tournament champ. I actually don't. You know what I mean? I just don't care. Straight up don't care about winning a tournament. Um, I care about like beating my friends, or just hanging out. You know, like during a tournament, sometimes halfway through a set, I'll just be like, I don't care anymore. Which isn't good if you want to win. If you want to win, you gotta care. But I'll care for like 2 games. If I'm just playing against friends of mine, we play 2 games where I care, and the next one I'm just like, I can just do whatever. I can play a silly character. I can just leave. I can just go get a drink. I can do whatever. Tournaments, not so much. And that's kind of why I'll still go to them. I'll sign up if I'm really feeling it, but not really my thing these days. I've been going just to play because I miss playing, and I hate playing online. I love that there's online for Melee. I love Slippy is amazing. Go download Slippy if you want to try that out. It's a way to play Melee online for free with good netcode, really good netcode. Um, but it's just not something I enjoy doing. So that's kind of where I'm at with Melee. I love it. It's one of my favorite. It's probably my favorite video game ever. Um, Minecraft might get it for the nostalgia thing, but Melee's probably my number one video game of all time, and I do not like competing in it at all. I thought I did for a long time, but that's kind of a recent realization. And maybe one day I'll come back with a different set of eyes on it. I know after I was playing quite a bit Melee before the first Girls' Night show, which I talked about in the Keats review, kind of the emotional drop that I had after that show and the lack of dopamine I was getting from just about anything. And that was kind of one of the reasons I stopped playing because I just don't feel like doing it. I just want to do music. Now, kind of looking back at that, I think I've kind of prescribed the issue. Right? It's an issue with competing. and that type of pressure rather than an issue with playing the game because the game's great, and I think I'll always love the game until my hands cramp up and I can't play it anymore. And even then, I'll still watch it. I'll still watch Genesis. You know, I'm watching Genesis. Yeah. Well, so that's Melee. That is Melee. Now, how about we get to another game? Now, inside of this, I said earlier that there was something inside my copy of Melee. Now, let's open it up. Well, first off, we have a card. And this is a Melee card. These are unofficial merch. This is a foil Battlefield card. Someone made booster packs of Melee themed cards. I bought one a while ago. It's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. There's 10 cards in the pack. This is my foil. The other ones are on my wall. When I do beer reviews indoors, which will happen eventually because eventually it'll get cold out. It's a beautiful day in August right now, so of course I'm out here. You will see kind of some more Melee stuff and also Magic the Gathering stuff. This is my Yawgmoth's Will. Now, I love this art. I love this card. It is in a top loader, and it is in a sleeve, which is in a sleeve. And the reason it's in all that is because it is quite an expensive card. It is, when I bought it, I think I bought it for $180. Now, I did not spend $180 on this card, of course not. This was all trade-ins because similarly, at one point, I was very invested in competitive Magic. Uh, I had bought, a modern deck. I was playing Goryo's Vengeance. That was before it did super good at the recent Pro Tours, but it was good at the time. The Ephemerate, scam package with Grief. No one knows what any of this means. Just don't worry about it. And that deck was quite expensive, and it was an expensive hobby. And I decided, you know what? Don't really want to do this. I haven't. I could afford it, right? Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to buy the cards. It wasn't like I. It just wasn't worth it. The game's good, but a lot of the new sets are not great. I think the game's still amazing, right? Like the game engine itself is perfect. Like the Magic the Gathering, the card game engine, the way those cards work is perfect. I wouldn't change anything about it. But and it's crazy that it's like the first trading card game and they got it right. But the recent direction of the game, not what I'm into. I was running a vintage cube for a long time, which was fun, but it just wasn't firing up enough, and it's very hard to get new people into the game for like the highest level, which is Vintage Cube. That's like the most complicated kind of way to play the game, which is a lot of fun, but not a great way to get new people into the game. And I have a lot of new people in my life who, maybe want to try it out. So, not doing the Vintage Cube anymore. Haven't been playing Magic all summer really, but I've got my Yawgmoth's Will, which I traded in a lot of my modern stuff for this. Because if I got cash, it would have been a lot less. You get more in store credit at card stores generally than in cash. And I just didn't need the cash. Maybe I should have taken the cash. I don't know. Maybe this will go up, maybe it will go down. Who knows, right? But I just think it's a cool card. I think the art's cool. They can't reprint this. It's on the reserved list, which means that they cannot make new copies of it, which they should be able to because it's $180. And people might need them for their decks and stuff. But no. And I just have it. And I don't really I don't play any formats where I need this card. It was in the cube, but I just kind of have it, and I think it's kind of cool looking. So, you know, I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing that I have. Kind of looking at it, it's like, is it an investment? Not really, because not only are Magic cards a horrible investment, it's also I lost money getting it. I bought so many other cards I traded in, you get less trade value, so I lost money buying this card. Yeah, what can you do, eh? It is what it is, and I'll take the card that could potentially go up in price one day over the cash. That's what I did at the time. It wasn't too long ago. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a thing I have. Yawgmoth's Will. Cool card, very cool art, and kind of Yawgmoth is a cool character in the game's lore from a very crazy set. It's a pretty wild set. If you're interested in the history of Magic, which I think is a lot of the enjoyment of Magic, is the history, the early history of the game, and the and like the more decentralized formats like Cube, Draft, and Pauper, I think are the best ways to play Magic. Xmage is a great place to play Magic. It is a free online Magic client. That's where I was doing the Cube Draft before. I haven't been doing those at all, and I don't know if I will again because it's just hard to stay up that late and think properly. I'm in a bit of a rough time zone. Albums come out at 1 a.m. here. It sucks. I wish they came out at 12 so I can do a midnight release, right? I can stay up. 1 a.m.'s a little tough to hear the new, like, you know, hear a new album, especially if it's not good. You know what I mean? If I have to stay up till midnight to hear an album and it's just okay, I'm like not happy about it, but hey, is what it is. 1 a.m. for a mid album? No, no, you don't. I'm listening in the morning. I will start my day with some mid, but I will not mid up. I will not start the mid, that, 1 a.m. No, not happening. Not happening. So I'm gonna pop this back in here because I don't really need it anymore. I'll talk about Magic more one day. But it's a game that's been a part of my life in a lot of ways. I started playing in grade 8, because I wanted to play Pokemon and no one played Pokemon. They just collected the cards and I wanted to play a game. So I got into Magic. People played Magic. People played Magic at my school, and people played Magic at Lightning Bolt Comics, which is an old comic shop, old comic and game shop that was right downtown Charlottetown. It is no longer there, unfortunately. Now in Charlottetown, there is EM Cards and Collectibles, Exor Games, uh, Geno Games, kind of. I think. I think they're in Cornwall or something. I don't know where they are, and Comic Hunter, which they're all fine stores. Shout out to EM. That's where the Melee tournaments happen. So special shout out to EM for sure for hosting those, especially. Um, yeah. Um, it's I miss Lightning Bolt a lot. It was a great place, super great location. It was in a basement. Had a just a crazy vibe. The owner, very nice guy. I still see him occasionally. Yeah, I miss it down there, and that was one of my first jobs. I wasn't good at the job, but I was sorting cards down there, and I was getting paid store credit for that, and that was pretty sweet. Um, yeah, kind of where it all started for me with that type of stuff. Um, yeah, I miss Lightning Bolt quite a bit. I will say that I do miss Lightning Bolt. Um, I played a lot of standard competitively down there. It was no good. Takes a very long time to get good at Magic. I'll say that. That is one thing I respect a lot about the game is that it really makes you. There's level up points. Same with Melee Magic. I think that's one of the big things that I really like about games that I've kind of clocked into is that I really like when there is points in the game where you feel like you've leveled up your knowledge, right? Like, you're playing Melee and you're thinking about it in a certain way, and then you learn something about the game through practice or someone tells you how to think, and then you see it completely differently. That happens with Melee, that happens with Magic. Those games don't have traditional like leveling up, but the way that you see the game and the way that you think about interactions and like the depth of the game is where the leveling up feeling comes from. That's one thing I really like about those games is that they're fun at every level, but you can get super deep into them and you can learn all the intricacies of them. And it feels really good to learn those things. And that's something that I think I really like in games. That and freedom to play how you want to play. And I think Magic and Melee both do a good job at that. I'm not as into linear games or even like open world games. Not really my thing. The only I always was a fan of the look and the feel and the lore of Zelda games, and I've not enjoyed a single Zelda game really. I think they're fun, but the only one I really enjoyed was Breath of the Wild, just because a lot of the challenges had you could solve them your own way. You could do things in the order you wanted. You know what I mean? I've played through Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, and both those games, well, great. Well, very, very cool. Story's awesome. Everything about them sweet. I just never really enjoyed them that much because I don't know. I had to do the things in the way the game wanted me to do them, and I just didn't care to do that. I think Minecraft kind of ruined my brain with that being one of the first games that I got really into. Another game I want to shout out to, Super Mario Galaxy. I played a lot of that in Galaxy 2. Those two games, very good, very integral to my kind of growing up, I guess. So yeah, I guess I kind of funny to do the champ review, and the whole thing I'm talking about is how I do not care to be a champ at any game. I don't care. At one point, I really cared. I like winning for sure, and I like improving more than I like winning. But I don't care to be the best. I just care to do it, and I care to have fun. And if playing a game competitively is fun, I'll do it. And if it's not, I'm not gonna keep doing it. I'm just gonna do what's fun. Uh, which is kind of how I feel about music and life in general. I'm just gonna keep doing what's fun until it's not fun, and then I'm gonna stop doing it. That way, I'll never get addicted to anything. It feels like that. It's like, oh, it's not fun anymore. I'll stop doing it. You know what I mean? You know, keep drinking beer, and it won't be fun when my liver starts failing. I'll be like, ah, it's not fun anymore. I'm out. It's just not a good time. Just kidding. Drink responsibly. Seriously. Shit's not good for you, but you know, you, you'll be fine. I think reviewing a beer is probably one of the most responsible ways to drink because you're not really pounding them back. It's kind of every couple of days just being like, let's talk about it, you know? Yeah. So if you ever want me to do videos on games, if that Minecraft server starts, I might do that. Or even just doing some melee for fun on camera with somebody who plays. I know, maybe me and Michael do a little beer review and then play a couple sets. I'd be down for that. Or even magic stuff. Let me know. And I'm definitely down to try out any of those type of, any of those games really. Like, I've got no rules for what I do on this channel. I can do whatever I want. Or other games. Maybe if I get SSX3 again, I'll, you know, get the camera on playing that. Why not, eh? Why not? That game's great. The music in that game is I wouldn't listen to those songs anywhere outside of that game, but they're good for that game. Um, and the character design, perfect character design. Go check out SSX3. That's my number one recommendation. Is go check out SSX3. Kind of nearing the bottom of the Champ APA now. It's been a really great beer review, I think. Absolutely awesome. I'm sure everyone's loving it. Um, yeah, Champ APA. I gotta say, big fan of this beer. Highly recommend trying it out if you get a chance. If you are into APAs, if you were into fruity, super juicy, hoppy beers, this is one to try. And I just kind of realized the scent I was trying to think of at the start of the video. It's almost mango-y. It's almost got a little bit of a mango thing to it, like a mango and tangerine and orange, like mandarin orange. Yeah, really love smell. I'm not getting much smell anymore because there's only a little bit left. So I'm gonna finish this off. Thank you for watching beer review. Gotta say, very happy that this is the fifth episode. Whoa, five? That's crazy. Crazy. Keep doing it. Might be a very special beer review coming out this weekend. Maybe. It's up in the air. It could happen. Not sure yet. And if it does happen, it's gonna be pretty sweet. If not, the next one will be out sometime next week. And I believe it will be maybe a moose head variety. So stay tuned for that. That'll be the first covering of a Moosehead beer, and I'll probably talk a little bit about the history of the Moosehead company of the Oland family, because I do have a book about that I'll probably talk about a bit in that review as well. And whatever happens this weekend. I guess this weekend I will say, if you are in Charlottetown and you are free on Friday night, that is 2 days from today, and probably, I guess I'll upload. Will I upload this later today? That might be a tomorrow job. That might be a tomorrow job. Tomorrow. This video is going up on Thursday. Tomorrow, go to Brat Night at Sports Page. I believe it starts at 10 p.m. Uh, the legend Duncan is going to be DJing. It is going to be all the hits from Brat. Just the whole album is all hits. Brat Night, Wear Green, Go Crazy. You already know. You already know. Want to finish off the last of this? Cheers, y'all. Oh, before I go, I'm gonna turn the camera a little bit. Camera keeps moving in beer review. What can I say? I'm gonna move the camera a little bit just so y'all can see backyard still there, just like the other videos. Just so you can see Boo there, just chilling, hanging out. Look at her, eh? She's just been here the whole video, just lying down, probably just like listening. Probably like you are. You're probably lying in bed right now watching beer review, just listening to me. And that's basically what Boo's doing, except Boo's lying on concrete. So maybe if you want the whole Boo experience, try lying down on concrete next beer review. Next beer review, take your phone outside, lie down on concrete, and listen. Isn't that right, Boo? Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks for watching beer review, everybody. I am Nico, and I'm signing out. Have a good one. Keep drinking.